There's a moment in life when the world stops demanding and starts revealing, a moment when the illusions of youth begin to fade and something deeper, more profound emerges from the depths of our existence. That moment, according to Carl Jung, happens at 40. Life really begins at 40. Until then, you are just doing research. These words from Jung resonate like an ancient truth rediscovered in modern times. The first half of life is preparation, an education, a dance with expectation, a collection of experiences that mold us into the people we think we are supposed to be. But then something changes. The chase slows. The need to prove ourselves fades. And in that quiet, in that stillness, a new path emerges, the path to becoming who we truly are. This is not a crisis. This is an awakening. And if you lean into it, if you stop resisting the call of the second half of life, you will find something greater than you ever imagined. The second birth, the life you were always meant to live. For the first 40 years, we construct a self, a mask. We chase status, approval, achievement, mistaking these things for purpose. Like devoted architects, we stack bricks of identity, carefully following society's blueprint. Education, career, family, success. But is that blueprint even ours? We race forward, believing that once we reach the summit, everything will make sense. And then one day we get there and realize the view isn't what we imagined. The applause fades, the achievements settle into dust, and a quiet but insistent question rises from the depths. Is this all there is? Jung described the first half of life as a necessary illusion, a scaffolding that allows us to integrate into the world. We learn how to play our roles well, how to navigate ambition, expectation, and responsibility. But then, something shifts. The structure we built starts to feel confining, like an outfit 2 sizes too small. And for the first time we ask, who am I beyond all of this? That question, terrifying yet liberating, marks the beginning of a whole new existence. We are no longer just building, we are awakening. And awakening, as history shows us, is never a quiet process. It is a revolution, a storm that tears through our carefully constructed reality and leaves only the raw, unfiltered truth behind. The tragedy of many is that they sense this shift but resist it. They tighten their grip on old identities, convinced that if they just hold on tighter, the fear will subside. But Jung warned against this. To resist transformation is to invite suffering. The scaffolding must come down. The mask must fall. And in the wreckage of what once was, the foundation of something real begins to emerge. Society tells us to fear this moment. It brands it as a crisis, a spiral into desperation, a futile attempt to reclaim lost youth. But Jung saw it differently. Midlife is not a collapse. It is an initiation, a doorway to something deeper. And yet, stepping through that doorway is terrifying, because awakening is not gentle. It does not whisper. It shakes. It unsettles. It forces us to face the truths we spent decades avoiding. The midlife awakening is not about losing something, but about rediscovering what was forgotten. Neuroscience confirms what Jung knew intuitively. Around midlife, the brain undergoes a remarkable shift. The dopamine-fueled chase of youth, the hunger for more, bigger, better, begins to lose its grip. The amygdala, the brain's fear center, becomes less reactive. We become less preoccupied with proving, with winning, with impressing. And a new craving emerges, a hunger for meaning, for depth, for something real. Studies show that emotional resilience increases with age, that self-doubt fades as clarity takes its place. The mind, once cluttered with external expectations, starts turning inward. The question is no longer, how can I be successful, but how can I be fulfilled? And perhaps, for the first time, we realize, success was never the point. Fulfillment was. And fulfillment, unlike success, is not measured in numbers, titles, or possessions. It is measured in depth, in peace, in the quiet satisfaction of knowing that we are finally living as we were meant to. This is what Jung called individuation, the integration of the self, the reclamation of everything we abandoned along the way. The passions we set aside, the truths we silenced, the shadow we feared. Individuation is the process of becoming whole, of retrieving the fragments of ourselves we left behind. But this journey is not for the faint-hearted. It demands that we surrender the illusions we once clung to. It forces us to acknowledge that some of what we chased no longer matters, and that some of the things we ignored may have been the most important all along. Harvard's Grant study, the longest research ever conducted on happiness, found that those who embraced this shift, who let go of rigid expectations and leaned into curiosity, experienced greater life satisfaction, deeper relationships, and a profound sense of peace. Not wealth, not fame, but the willingness to evolve. The most fulfilling lives are not those that remained rigid, but those that adapted, that allowed for reinvention, that made room for the unexpected. Midlife is not about clinging to what was, but about embracing what could be. The great danger is not in the transition itself, but in avoiding it, clinging to an old identity, resisting change, refusing to step into the next iteration of ourselves. This is the true tragedy. But for those who embrace it, for those who lean into the unknown rather than recoil in fear, midlife becomes something else entirely. It becomes liberation. It becomes authenticity. It becomes the beginning of something deeper than we ever imagined. And so, if you are standing at this threshold, uncertain, wondering what comes next, the answer is simple. Whatever you choose, there is no longer a script, no longer a predefined path. There is only you, your truth, and the vast, unwritten future ahead. And that, more than anything else, is where life truly begins. And as you step forward, let the weight of expectation fall from your shoulders. Let go of the need to please, to prove, to rush. Walk slowly, deliberately. Feel the earth beneath your feet. Breathe in the air of possibility. You are not late. You are not behind. You are exactly where you need to be. And your greatest story, it is still unfolding. And perhaps, just perhaps, the most beautiful pages have yet to be written. So breathe deeply. Take the step and begin.